welcome to Lesbian Love. This is your girl V, and today I have a lovely couple, Sakara and Katharina. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
Thank
you for having
you.
us.
When I say the word love, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Trust.
That. Now, I know the two of you met 5 years ago. Tell us how you met.
We met online on the app Plenty of Fish.
And what attracted each of you to the other.
I think with all online dating, it was the pictures. So when I saw her picture, actually I was kind of like another cute girl, whatever, catch up wide net, right? So I just said hi there to see if she would respond, and she did, but I'm not sure how the conversation went from hi there to these deep conversations, but we sort of jumped right into this really authentic, very genuine, deep conversation that lasted a few days, and then we just continued. We never stopped after that.
Wow. Now, how long did you actually talk online, and then when did you meet in person?
It was some weeks. I was very nervous to meet her. I enjoyed our conversations and was definitely attracted to the deep connection that we had, but that also made me very anxious and just, I don't know, I was not ready to meet her, so I kind of strung her along.
For 3 weeks,
Oh
I was gonna
no!
call Neve. I thought she was a catfish.
Right. Yes. Well, I'm glad she was not a catfish.
Me too.
Now, tell me about your support system and your family. Like when you came out to your family years ago, what was that support system and that family dynamic like?
I came out when I was 17, so that was over 10 years ago. My dad immediately cut me off. Some of his side of the family, like my aunts and uncles, they've reached out and they were able to meet Katharina this past year. My mom's side of the family has been pretty much supportive throughout. This has been kind of new to them. So as we've hit some milestones, there have been some hesitation when we moved in, when we got engaged, those kind of things. But honestly, they're really supportive.
For me, my mom's side of the family weren't having it because I was raised by them. We were really religious, 5 days a week in the church kind of thing. So I didn't come out until a lot later when I was sure about it. Coming out to my mom's side of the family, they weren't really with it at first, but they've come full circle. Like they love her. Um, they're they're evolved. They evolved from not wanting to even hear about her or talk about her or any of that to I think the first time we were like progress was when my grandma said, uh, until I can't never say her name right, but tell her I'm praying for her. And I said, she mentioned you. She said she was praying for you. So it went from that, and then actually this past January we went home or went to Cleveland where I'm from, and she actually met my grandma, and we had a wonderful time with that side of the family. My dad, on the other hand, he's an older Asian man. He's Korean. He's 73. Um, and he was living with me at the time. So I went out back, and he, was telling me that the house was nice, and he was like, you're making a really good living for yourself, and maybe you find a nice man to be the man of the house. So I was like, I gotta tell him, right? So I was like, well, Dad, I kind of am the man of the house. And he was like, yeah, yeah, right. I was like, he don't get it. Daddy, I'm gay. And he was like, oh, well, there's plenty children you can adopt.
Wow.
He didn't miss a single beat. It was so. My dad loves her. She calls him dad. Like we go see him kind of often.
You've been together for 5 years, married for one. Tell us about your actual wedding.
Okay, we got married in Mexico. It was just the two of us. We decided a lot of factors. One, financially, we just figured that our families were not going to be able to give us a wedding, so the financial burden would fall on us, and that really wasn't something that we wanted to provide. It was almost as if we were doing it for everyone else. So we went to Mexico. We had an elopement, but everyone knew about it, so not quite an elopement. It was on Facebook Live so that they were included, but we just felt what was best for us was for it to just be for us to just be there.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I mean, everyone was pretty much supportive because they had so much time. We were engaged for 2 years. I proposed first, and then a year later, she proposed back. And then a year later, we were getting married. So in that 2 years, everyone knew it was coming. Everyone knew we were going to get married. And by the time the wedding took place, her mom made the bouquet. My mom was happy. I talked to her that morning. Like, my dad was happy. So it was kind of like, it was still a wonderful experience. They just had to see it via virtual rather than being there.
Wow. And since then, everybody has come full circle. You don't have any family issues at this point.
No, everybody's. I mean, her dad, but.
Okay.
there are so many other supportive people.
Yeah.
Now, what does your future look like in 5 to 10 years? Do you plan kids?
We definitely see kids in our future. We think short term that we will foster to adopt, and then hopefully I will carry, and maybe you'll carry.
If she carries and she's like, oh, I can do that again, then I'll probably give her one of my eggs to carry because I don't have the urge to carry. I really don't want to. But if she says that sucked, I never want to do it again, then I will. I'll carry.
Okay. How many kids do you want to have?
If it was up to you, it'd be
I
4 or
love
5.
kids. I love kids.
I would say about
Want
2
to
or
love all the
3.
kids. But probably, I would say 2 at a time. I don't think we'll ever stop parenting. You know what I mean? So I feel like, as our first set of kids age, we'll probably continue. So
And what would you say to other couples, especially young couples? What do you think are some of the keys to a successful relationship?
I think you have to have a strong foundation, something that you really go back on. For us, we have some non negotiables when it comes to just fighting in everyday life with how we communicate to each other. Like I said in the beginning, trust is very important and big to us. This is my best friend, so I literally can tell her everything. And just being open and having that line of communication.
yep. And so going off of that, I feel like for young couples, we should be more clear about what those non-negotiables are. So obviously, you're not going to be in the house putting hands on each other. If you're doing that, whether you're the one being hit or the one hitting your partner, you should get help for sure, because that should automatically be a non-negotiable. But some of the ones we don't talk about is like we have certain words that we don't say, right? So like in our household, we don't say "f you."
Hmm.
Period. That's a non-negotiable. I don't care how mad you are at me. You're never gonna say "f you." We don't name call. So you can be angry, you can yell, you can cuss if you need to, but we don't cuss at each other, and everyone knows there's a difference with that. And I say all that because trust is bigger than just cheating. Like that again, honestly, should be an automatic. That should be obvious. And if it isn't, you need to figure out, what the problem is before you commit to a relationship. But trust also involves knowing that that person won't hurt your feelings on purpose. So when they do hurt your feelings, in your heart that wasn't on purpose. So it makes it easier to get over that kind of thing, or easier to tell them, hey, you hurt my feelings. You know what I mean? And vice versa. And then sorry to talk so much. So then,
Well, you good.
for my personal keys or key, I guess, is education and effort. Um, for our generation, we were told basically if it's meant to be, it'll be, which is wrong. That's a sugar coated. That's not real reality. It's not realistic. You have to work for it. So just like you work for your career, when you're in high school and you want to be a doctor, or you want to be a lawyer, you start looking into what that means and what that takes. You start reading about it. Then you go to college and you study it. You read books on it. You do all this stuff. You get the career and you continue to learn about it. So why in your marriage, which should be exponentially more important than your career, why in your marriage would you go in and shoot from the hip? Like why would you not be studying to perform in your marriage as well? So that I think it would be my message to people in their 20s.
Yeah, I love that. Because you definitely have to constantly put that work in the relationship and constantly study each other.
Mm-hmm.
Because hopefully you are ever evolving as a couple and therefore growing together. So I love that. I want to thank both of you for joining us today. Thank you for sharing your story of love.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you.
And as always on Let's Be Love, I just want to remind everyone, let's be the love that you want to see in this world.